live. So welcome everybody to today's live webinar on composing an intelligent digital experience technology stack, brought to you by Kentico and Korcomptenz. Christian, Saurav, Dean, thank you for being with me here today. It looks like people are still coming in, so I think we'll give them a couple of minutes anyway. But Dean, nice to see you. I don't think I've asked you where you're located out of.
Yeah, I'm actually out of New Hampshire, so we just got over 2 feet of snow, so I'm hoping that goes away soon.
Yeah, you're gonna have to clean the driveway then. That's your afternoon plans.
Not the welcome to spring I was hoping for, but here we are.
Yeah, the groundhog is wrong again this year or something. You know, he should be out. He should be laid off. You know, not the tech workers, but that groundhog should definitely lose his job if I had any power. You know. But Christian, nice to see you. You're coming in from New Jersey. I see your dogs are, under control. You know, usually I actually visited Christian's house a couple of years ago, and he has 2 dogs that love barking. But it seems like they're well behaved today.
Well, for now, I do have the door to the office closed, and my wife is up with them in the bedroom, hoping that they remain quiet. But if a delivery man comes to the house, no one will ever understand why the FedEx truck and the Amazon truck and the post office truck in particular drive a dog crazy, but they sense them coming around the block.
They have like supernatural powers to sense those coming away. Yeah. Anyway, there's still an hour. There's a long time for you to get any packages or anything from Amazon. So I guess we'll see. Sarv, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for having me here. It's like 80 in here, a little hot. So,
but you had Holy a couple of days ago. Just a little peek behind the curtain. We were doing some rehearsals for this, and Saurav was kind of, showing off his Holy, colors in one of the rehearsals. But
I had to wipe it off very forcibly today.
You've got. I'm sorry, I reminded everybody now, but you did a good job wiping it off. But
thank you.
I did think it was funny a little bit. But looks like we're still waiting on a couple of people. I think we can maybe start in 2 minutes at 11:05. But I was kind of bummed. I heard you guys talking about TV earlier when I was away from my computer. I heard a lot of Seinfeld and Curb Your Enthusiasm talk. I love Curb. I think Curb is I think Larry David way funnier than Seinfeld. That's my hot take that I'll share with all of the attendees today. I'm not sure if that's a hot take or not, though.
Well, I think Seinfeld may be a little bit before your time. No cell phones, no text messages, no social media.
That's also
true. You can get lost in a parking garage and have no way to get back.
Yeah, I don't even know what a parking garage is, But those guys are definitely funny. I think Larry David was working on Seinfeld, right? That's how they met. They were creative partners.
He's a co-creator with Jerry, and he was executive producer for the first 5 seasons. And then left.
I haven't made it past season 1 Seinfeld, unfortunately.
You're missing the best episodes. It really, the first couple seasons have some classics in it, but it's not really till season 3 that it picks up.
That'll be my homework for today, I guess. To catch up on some Seinfeld reruns. I have to max out my Netflix tonight,
Who's your best character in Seinfeld so far?
I only have done like 2 or 3 episodes, so I haven't gotten into it. But I like Curb better. I've been watching this new show on Netflix, The Gentleman. The Guy Ritchie movie was made into a series. I think that was really good.
I'm going to start that one very soon.
Very nice.
I think for me, everyone tends to pick George, but there's something about Elaine and just the way she thinks she's so deep, but she's really so shallow, that always just struck me as just an archetype for a New Yorker during that period. She thought she was so sophisticated, but when it came down to it, what do they say? An inch deep and a mile wide.
But I
was more of a Frank Costanza guy, big Frank Costanza.
I like Kramer a lot.
Kramer, I've heard good things about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think it's 11:05. So, and I think our attendees, most of them are in. They might trickle in a few later, but I think now is a good time to start. So, to everybody watching at home or in office, to my panelists today, I'd also really like to welcome each and every one of you and thank you for spending some time with us today. Today's webinar is going to be talking about today's digital landscape. And something that we see in today as a trend is that seamless integration and collaboration between teams are absolutely paramount for delivering intelligent and personalized digital experiences. However, the explosion of platforms and also the sense that some of these platforms are not actually delivering the expected results has resulted in the underutilization of many, many features. But this is also despite the widespread acceptance that the customer experience and personalization drives both revenue and growth. In today's webinar, we're going to explore the state of the market. We're going to explore two key approaches to achieving customer experience excellence, known as all-in-one or best-in-breed. We're also going to explore the transformative capabilities of Kentico, a hybrid headless CMS solution. And during a demo of that system in action, we're going to also delve into the future of AI integrated platforms and discover how Kentico paves the way for unparalleled digital experiences. So now if we go to the next slide, I wanted to present as a little bit of a primer the current MarTech or marketing technology map. And as you can see, it is very, very confusing because of the length and breadth of options. In fact, you need a magnifying glass to actually even make out some icons that you might recognize. And if I'm being honest, I also don't recognize a lot of the magnified solutions as well. But that's because in today's rapidly evolving digital landscape, businesses are encountering very significant challenges in selecting the right customer digital experience platform to integrate into their MarTech stack. This challenge stems from several key factors like the complexity of options, integration challenges, changing customer expectations, skill and resource constraints, ROI concerns, as well as scalability concerns. And if we go to the next slide, today's webinar is all about how we make sense of this. In essence, the expanding MarTech stack presents businesses with a multitude of options and choices, but the difficulty lies in selecting the right customer experience platform that not only meets their current needs, but also aligns with their future growth and innovation strategies. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So a little bit of housekeeping before we begin. I wanted to present today's agenda. In today's discussion, first, we are going to get a primer about the state of marketing technology today. So what the current landscape is, emerging trends, and also how to find that sweet spot for your organization. Next, we'll dive into the difference between all-in-one and best-of-breed, and how to understand those main two approaches to MarTech excellence. Next, we're lucky enough to have Dean from Kentico here to demo and introduce Xperience by Kentico, which is supposed to combine the best of both worlds. You'll be able to compose your own stack and also leverage fully integrated features with personalization and AI. Next, we will run you through the difference between total cost of ownership and ROI, and how to understand those differences and also how to maximize benefits for your organization. And finally, we'll leave you with some key takeaways about how both Korcomptenz and Kentico can help you in your journey. Now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our esteemed panel today. We have a very experienced team presenting who will also be available for questions and answers after the session, so make sure to keep in the session until that point. First, I'd like to introduce Dean Mavrikos from Kentico. His experience spans the entire sales and marketing lifecycle of digital experience platforms, working with customers to ensure that they have the right marketing technology in place. Dean, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Rohan. It's great to be here.
Next, we have Christian. Christian is the Chief Digital Officer of Korcomptenz. He has over 20 years of experience in web, mobile, and marketing technologies. He has worked with some of the biggest, most respected brands in the world, and he has deployed innovative programs to improve the customer experience and operational excellence. Christian, we're lucky to have you here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Rohan, and thank you everyone for joining. Looking forward to presenting.
And last but not least, I'd like to introduce Saurav Kumar. Saurav is a Kentico certified developer who has a strong knowledge of all Kentico versions, having worked on the platform for more than 10 years. He serves as a solution architect for some of the most complicated Kentico installations in the world. Hi, Saurav.
Hi, Ron. Thank you for having me here. Looking forward to it.
Great. Thank you. And just a little bit of housekeeping before we start the session. There will be a question and answer session after the main presentation. You can ask questions at any time using the panel on the interface. All lines will be on mute both during and after the session. And there will also be a survey and a very, very important email that will hit your box at the end of the session. So please make sure to keep your eyes peeled for that. And with everything out of the way, I'd like to turn it over now to Christian, who's going to walk us through the state of marketing technology today. Christian, you can take it away.
Thanks again, Rohan. I think as we saw from the opening slide, fortunately or unfortunately, the state of marketing technology today can be summed up in a single word: overwhelming. And perhaps even worse and more challenging, it's constantly changing, constantly evolving, proving very hard for companies to keep up and choose where to invest their valuable marketing dollars. At the same time, over the past couple of decades, we have identified a few trends that suggest that companies that strive to take advantage of the promise benefit in significant ways. The customer is king. This is likely something that you've heard many times before. It's a spin on the old phrase that the customer is always right. There have been academic papers going back on it for since at least 2004, if not even earlier. Some of them published in tremendous publications like the Harvard Business Review and other academic journals. And at least since then, study after study has found that companies which offer a better customer experience make more money. It's pretty easy to understand why. They grow faster because their customers are more loyal and they're far more likely to recommend their friends and family. At this point, having been in this industry for over 20 years now, I don't think anyone really disagrees with this in principle. Everyone intuitively understands that happier customers spend more money. But in practice, it's a difficult question to answer as to what is the optimal investment with the largest return. And this is, a very complex area and topic that is going to vary across businesses and industries in challenging ways. Ultimately, however, in order to properly serve the customer, you need to have a positive customer experience across all the various touch points. On the chart here, we can see how having that positive experience from onboarding through retention and loyalty ultimately yields significantly more revenue throughout the life cycle, increasing your cross-selling opportunities by up to 25%, wallet share by 10%, and resulting in a higher satisfaction, 20 to 30%, which of course is much more likely to drive referrals. Marketing technology, the reason why we're here today and what we found companies are struggling with, is critical to every one of these touch points and a lot more. But marketing technology is actually becoming less and less utilized over the past several years, primarily because companies have grown somewhat frustrated with the very tools that everyone knows can improve the customer experience and ultimately make them more money. Of course, this is precisely the opposite trend one would expect given the potential gains. But rather than taking advantage of the promise to increase their ROI, companies are actually cutting their budgets, addressing the wrong side of the equation for anyone interested in achieving sustained growth. The culprit, as you can see here from almost 70% of the respondents, is a combination of utilization of the platforms companies have deployed already and the credibility of folks advocating those platforms. In other words, companies aren't using the features they have right now. According to Gartner, this can result in a $4 million wasted spend for even a mid-size $250 million company. And those who have been championing these tools and promising the benefits have lost credibility as a result. At this point, you might be wondering how this could even be possible when everyone agrees there is so much to gain. The unique experience at each individual company is going to vary, but there are a few things that are probably true regardless of your company and your industry. First and foremost, implementing a personalization and automated customer journey strategy is difficult, especially if your business has complex customer touch points, a wide range of products or variants, diverse teams that service the customer, and multiple systems responsible for individual parts of the overall customer experience. Many companies, quite frankly, are missing some of the key data they need to automate key aspects of their engagement. And this is even assuming that these companies can get their systems to talk to one another seamlessly and that they have the resources in marketing, IT, sales, service, and other departments to actually implement these strategies. Perhaps even more incredibly, the fracturing disparate systems challenge extends to having multiple systems that do the same thing within the same company. This leads to a substantial overlap in capabilities and causes even more potential wasteful spending. If you have more than one content management system, customer relationship management system, enterprise resource planning and accounting software, or email marketing platform, and according to this survey at least, more than 30 companies currently have 3 or more of these systems deployed, chances are your customer data is duplicated in more than one location, which of course makes it very hard to normalize and ultimately extract any meaningful information. This then results in additional challenges with your data, duplicative software licensing, and more than likely a lot of manual processes navigating between these systems that burn through valuable staff time. Ultimately, wherever your company is now, and whatever challenges that they've had in the past with this software, you need to find the sweet spot that is going to balance your investments with returns. As we mentioned, that unique sweet spot is going to be different from company to company, depending on a range of factors, but studies suggest that you should keep in mind the fact that the cost of not delivering on your customers' expectations is significantly higher than over-delivering. As you can see in this slide, you stand to lose 2 times as much value if you underinvest. This generally aligns with most of our anecdotal experience. I think everyone knows you might only have one chance to acquire a customer and one chance to keep them, and a single bad experience can cost you dearly, given the significant investment involved required to bring in new business and the significant loss in the total lifetime value of the customer if they do not remain loyal. Of course, changing these dynamics in your organization are not going to be easy. They're going to present challenges in and of themselves, but there are a few things you can do right now, regardless of your digital maturity or what industry you're in. In addition to looking to optimize your technology stack, take a more agile approach with your technology and your marketing campaigns, improve the partnership and collaboration between marketing and IT, and ensuring you have accurate reporting, focus on trying to identify and measure several key use cases in your organization. Begin with asking yourself basic questions like, what is the first step in my customer's online journey? Can my customers begin their relationship with us online in the first place? Once they do, how do I segment and nurture my current customers and my prospective customers? What's my cross-selling strategy? Is that available online? How is my customer service experience? Do I offer that online through social media and other channels? Ultimately, if you need help understanding your digital maturity level, we're going to send you a link to a unique calculator that helps you assess where you are now and guide you to improvements that could be made based on your unique organization. You can take this assessment at your convenience after the meeting. In the meantime, I'm going to turn the floor back to Rohan, who's going to introduce our next speaker and our next topic.
Thanks, Christian, for that primer on the landscape as it is. I think that stat that I almost didn't believe was how MarTech is now only 33% utilized, which is down from 58% just in 2020. So that's amazing. But I think that kind of speaks to the confusion about what people have in certain landscapes and certain MarTech technology. And
if you take,
sorry, go ahead.
Take one step back, Rohan. With the pandemic, you would have thought this stuff would be utilized even more, given the switch to virtual business models and everything like that. And it's really the exact opposite trend that you'd expect.
It sounds like it's almost like a secret weapon that companies can use now if they choose to invest a little bit more in their MarTech stack in the coming years. But thank you for that, Christian. And when we're talking about using it as a secret weapon, first we have to know the differences between, certain MarTech technology. And as Sarv is going to show us today, there are two main approaches to MarTech Excellence, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about it. Sarv, you can take it away.
Thank you, Rohan, and Christian for that excellent introduction. So today I'm going to walk us through the two main approaches to selecting and deploying a MarTech software, the pros and cons of each, and how they apply to your organization. It's become a very common place to look at the customer journey map that details how a customer moves through your business from a prospect to a champion. But a customer journey is really a journey through your channels, systems, teams, creating a complex web that is difficult to untangle, even for a relatively straightforward business model. If you have different divisions, service lines, etc., this complexity can increase exponentially. Therefore, any decision to introduce a new software or a new channel should be taken with great care. Companies often look for one platform that does it all, like an all-in-one, or choose the best fit from a variety of providers for the needs, the best in breed. But like anything else in life, everything has pros and cons to each and every decision. If you now consider the products available in the market to deliver CMS and web experience management from the well-known MarTech map, it doesn't make things any clearer. There are more than 300 products available in the market to manage and streamline your expanding channels and marketing ecosystem. However, they all exist and must be somewhat successful. So there must be pros and cons for different options available. So the big question is, how do you choose the right solution from a crowded space? Let's try and make sense of these different types of products. You can use a content management system or a CMS. These can be open source solutions, cheaper in cost. However, they are limited to managing content and are very web-centric by design. Today's market has evolved, with customers expecting more personal and richer digital experiences, hence the progression to a digital experience platform, or a DXP, providing much more functionality in a single platform with like digital marketing, workflows, personalization, often revolving around centralized customer data management. DXPs should be composable by nature to allow for flexible integrations with external business applications. But not all DXPs are the same. A DXP can be framed into three basic categories, each one with their own pros and cons for different customers and market sectors. The first option is fully composable or a bespoke solution. All components, including the CMS, are headless products from multiple vendors. This is not a platform which you can buy off the shelf, but one that has built by a solution architect from scratch. On the plus side, it's very flexible and could be the answer for some organizations with very specific needs. But on the downside, the architecture is very complex. It has no front end, which means a lot of reliance on developers to do everything. And with that comes the biggest budget and results in the slowest time to market. An integrated DXP, on the other hand, is one where the platform generally consists of different products to make up an overall solution. However, unlike the bespoke option, one vendor provides multiple capabilities through separate products, often because of their own mergers and acquisitions due to their commercial fit, which may not result in the best solution for the customer. On the plus side, you have lots of capabilities, and this would be less complex than a bespoke solution because some of the composition is already done for you. However, any other integrations are complicated, and there is no commonality between the products as they are built using different technologies. And the inconsistent UX means it has a longer learning curve and a slow implementation time for new projects. Now we can see the single vendor DXP. The difference is that all components are built in unison by the same development teams with common code within a single platform. The solution architecture is unified, meaning integrations are easier and faster, and the whole platform is composable to ensure it works with other business applications. There's lots of features built in, and out of the three options, this has the best UX for the marketing team. Because of a consistent admin interface, they can make changes or launch new campaigns quickly. In terms of prices, I would say licenses are generally the cheapest due to lower development costs. It's the most simple to implement projects and therefore the fastest to the market. The content delivery methods vary as well. Let's start with the approach of a traditional web-centric solution. The advantage is allowing the marketing teams to create web pages using widgets and page builder templates through a front-end UI. It's great for building websites, but the downside is it doesn't meet your needs of reaching consumers on multiple digital channels. We have seen a headless approach in the bespoke DXP option. This approach focuses mainly on content delivery. This is where the front-end UI is separated from the back-end layer. The advantage is multi-channel content delivery via API. However, you don't get the front-end interface that marketers need for design. So they become, again, reliant on developers. End result is expensive and slow and doesn't allow marketers to react fast to market changes. So we now come to the hybrid headless concept, which actually covers both sides. Structured content can be shared and reused across multiple channels while still retaining the front-end design, meaning the marketing team retains control with less reliance on development teams. Most customers will always start with web first. So the hybrid headless actually gives you control over web design, but then allows you to add more channels and manage them within the same solution as you mature. This way, headless content delivery just becomes one of the features of DXP rather than becoming a whole methodology. So considering these pros and cons of DXPs and content delivery, try to imagine a solution that is easy for your team to work with, has all the tools you need, that helps you reach your audiences in multiple digital channels, that gets you to market faster, is flexible to grow with you, providing a long-term value. So let's see this in practical. Handing over it back to Rohan to practically dive into it.
Thanks, Sarv, for that kind of primer into the differences between all-in-one and best-in-breed. As you said, you were trying to imagine a solution that had those things that were on the previous slide. I'd like to hand it down to Dean to demo an actual software that does all those things on the last slide. And just bear with us a little bit. I think we are changing presenters, so there might be a little bit of lag, but I think now Dean has got it. So Dean, you can take it away now.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you, Rohan, and thank you for the lead in both to Christian and Saurav as well. So yeah, what we're going to be showing off today is a fictitious banking website called KBank. And so don't get kind of hung up on the look or the feel. You know, we just kind of have about 10 or 15 minutes to walk through this, so I'm going to do it pretty high level. But I think this should tie in everything that Saurav was just walking through, especially with regards to the hybrid headless. So what I am showing off here is kind of the way that you can start to distribute your content into multiple different digital channels. So within the implementation phase of KBank, what they have decided to do was segment out 5 separate channels that they want to target their audience at. And this is all being controlled in one administrative interface in the back end. So what KBank has decided to do was to segment out through personal, business, a microsite that's dedicated to mortgages. They also have a native mobile application, and then even an alternative site called K-Cars, which is for loans that are strictly for buying used vehicles. And just to give you kind of a heads up of what the live sites look like, you can see that it's very nice, it's very modern looking. This is one of the channels that they have created and that they are managing from one centralized location, and even a native mobile banking application. So just to kind of give you an idea of the landscape there. Now, we will navigate back here to the back end or the administrative interface. This is where you're going to be, this is where you can get to anything that you want to do from a digital marketing or even from a technical perspective to manage all of those different digital channels. So as you can see, we have the channels that I just showed off right here that are segmented out, which is easy to navigate to, which allows for efficiency. There's content management, some digital marketing, and then even some development and configuration. Really what I want to start with though is, you know, Saurav talked about the web-centric versus the headless versus the hybrid headless. And I think where that comes into play and the best illustration of the practical application for any kind of marketing team would be our content hub. So if I navigate here, our content hub is really your center of truth. And what I mean by that is this is a repository for all of the different pieces of content that you want to create once and then be able to reuse and repurpose across as many different digital channels as you like, because of that decoupled architecture that we have between the front end and the back end. So as you can see, any kind of content types in here, there's products, there's heroes, there's articles, there's benefits, FAQs. It can be anything that you really want to do. And really, again, not only does this allow you to make an update once to a content item, so for instance, if I were to select our personal loan and just make a quick edit here, you can see that there's a lot going on behind the scenes. I can update any of my short descriptions. I have an embedded media library if I want to choose or swap out any different types of images, descriptions. I also have benefits that are being pulled directly from the Content Hub, as well as features, loan types, rates, anything like that. And I think, you know, specifically within the finance sector, as rates are changing, it will be a beautiful thing to be able to come in and just update this rate one time, and wherever that content is reflected, I only have to make or perform that task one time. So it does a couple of different things for your marketing teams. Number one, it gives the power back to the creatives and the non-technical users to be able to get in there and manage the content in an appropriate fashion. The second thing that it does, aside from just improving efficiency, is it allows you to consistently get your message out across all of those different channels. Whereas a web-centric approach, it kind of makes you go into all those different digital channels on an individual basis and make those updates. Oftentimes, when you're making those updates on individually, that can sometimes lead to some mistakes being made and some inconsistent messaging getting out. So that is the Content Hub. If I want, though, again, kind of like Saurav was talking about, We do understand too that there's going to be certain areas where you need to just build a page from scratch, and you need to be able to get some content out that's very specific there. So we'll just dive right into our channel here for personal, and I can come in here to my home page and I will edit this page, and you will see that I have this is drag and drop, this is WYSIWYG. I can come down here, I can select from here for different widgets that I want to impose, if it's rich text, if it's any kind of hero banners, anything like that. And so I can create a page and I can influence that page directly through this view. However, we do believe that even if you're an organization that has not determined what your channels might look like yet, you can still begin your content modeling within the Content Hub before you even understand what those channels are going to look like. And I think that that is also where our good partner at Korcomptenz can assist you through that process, and the solution through Xperience by Kentico makes that possible. So for instance, if I wanted to come in here and make a change, and maybe I don't want to necessarily have the default banner, or there's something I want to edit, if I click on this edit button, what it does is it brings me directly back to the specific content item that is living within that Content Hub. So I can edit this content item and I can make any of my different changes here that I want to. Maybe I want to remove a specific type of benefit, anything like that, and I can make that, I can save it and I can publish it. I won't have time to get too in the weeds on this today, but there is a workflow process with roles and permission suite in here as well, so you can lock down who has access to what. Maybe you only want them to be able to edit or view. Maybe they can actually edit, but they can't publish it to the live site, so you can go through a workflow process to ensure that the right people are making the correct edits and that it's going through the necessary chain of command before it actually gets out to your public site or whatever the digital channel is that they're trying to get their content out to. So the page builder functionality in the Content Hub allows you for that hybrid headless, because again, I think most of the time when I've heard or had discussions around headless, it typically boils down to the fact that they just want multi-channel content delivery in a consistent and efficient manner, which Xperience by Kentico allows you to do. So that is the upside of the hybrid headless, because you get that front end UI, because I am not a technical user, I'm a very non-technical person and I can do all of these things. The other upside that you get for the best of both worlds is it's still a digital experience platform. So you get all of that additional functionality. And one of those pieces is that within Xperience by Kentico, we have site visitor tracking. So we can track visitors to the site that are either anonymous or known, and we can actually navigate right here, for instance, to our contact management. So you can see that some anonymous user has been poking around our site quite a bit. And again, this is a demo environment, so there's not a ton of information in here, but apparently George Costanza from Seinfeld, we were talking about that earlier, has been poking out around our site, and he was so interested in what he saw from our content that we put out there that he decided to fill out a form and convert. And so again, we have GDPR practices in here that they have to consent before we can actually start doing any of these types of tracking. But if we want to dive in and take a look at George here, let's take a look at some of his activities. So we know that he's looking to potentially, apparently he wants to move out of his parents' house or even his little apartment in New York, and is interested in a first-time home buyers type of loan. So we now know all of these different things, and we can take a look at all of the different activities that George is poking around and taking a look at. So that is the contact tracking capabilities that we have here. But how are we actually going to use that data to start to offer up personalized content to hopefully nudge them in the direction of conversion rates? So another way we can do that is we can create a contact group. A contact group here is going to take all of the information and is condition-based from our different site visitors. So let's create a quick one. If we were to go into a new contact group, we're actually going to go ahead and we'll call this a personal loan, and we'll just give this their code name real quick. And again, it's condition-based. So let's go in and add in a condition. So we'll do a very elementary illustration of this, but we can actually go in and let's take a look at web activity. So let's say that we want to look at somebody that has visited a specific page, and we will click this page, and let's say that they are looking at the personal loan, for instance. We'll select that, and let's say 90 days. So we've now set a parameter for somebody that has visited this page in the last 90 days. Let's add one more condition, and let's say that they've submitted a form, but in this case, let's say that they actually have not submitted a form. Now let's go ahead and select the form that we've already created, the loan form, in the last 90 days. So now we are segmenting out our audience for somebody that has come to our page, personal loan page, in the last 90 days, but they didn't convert. They didn't fill out their information for the form. So let's go ahead and apply that. and we'll save it. And we'll just give it a quick recalculate to ensure that this is working properly. And now what we can do with this is we can start to go back into our page builder functionality and offer up some personalized content. So let's go back into our personal loan page and we'll go into home, and you'll see that there's this little individual up here and it says personalize. So if I click on this and I identify that they're in a specific contact group, for instance, personal loans, and we'll go ahead and just call that personal loan, I'll go ahead and apply that. And you'll see that it's gone from one to multiple different people. And I can toggle back and forth between the original and the personal loan. Now I can start to use the widget and the page builder functionality to change out some of this content that will hopefully move them towards a higher likelihood of converting. So as an example, if I want to change this out from the very typical default banner, let's actually kick that out. And let's do a very specific product page. And we'll go into loans and personal loan, and we'll go ahead and select that. There's all different types of things here that I can use to kind of manipulate this in a fashion that I believe is going to help them to convert. And so this is all completely customizable. This is just the way that the demo environment works. And again, that's where my good friends over at Korcomptenz can make that happen for you in a way that's going to fulfill all of your specific goals and requirements. But if I go ahead and apply that, you'll see that the personal loan page comes up here. Maybe I want to add in like a specific say a call to action, fill out or check us out today, find out more today. There we go. We'll apply that. And there's now a call to action where I can click on that and I have a call to action. So I can do this and get really as specific and granular throughout this as I'd like. But if I go back up here and I toggle back, for instance, to say the original, you'll see that this is what the typical first-time site visitor is going to see. But if I meet those requirements, I can start to see something different, which will allow me to hopefully use that kind of content to convert them. This can be used in multiple different ways. Maybe it's for somebody that's not a customer yet that you're looking to target. It could also be used for current customers that, for instance, in the banking space, maybe you have a checking and a savings account and you see that they're starting to look at a HELOC loan or a home loan or an auto loan, and you want to segment them out. That's also a way for you to use personalization through this digital practice from a non-technical user to also grow your already existing accounts. So to kind of tie all of this in and keeping with this theme of the hybrid headless and the best of both worlds, not only do you get the ease of use, the multi-channel content delivery, the personalization, you also get some email marketing capabilities, again, because this is a fully fledged digital experience platform. So within the implementation and kind of their design phase of KBank, they wanted to actually make emails a separate channel. So for instance, let's go into emails here, and I'm just going to show a very high-level overview of some of the AI that we've started to implement within this. So let's go into the intro newsletter, and this is something where you can create a brand new email naturally from scratch, but just to kind of show this off as time is a bit of a constraint, you'll see that I have all these different little AI things here that I can select. So for instance, if I want an email introduction, let's click on AI, and I actually can do this in a few different ways, which I think is pretty neat. So I can actually select something, a piece of content or a news article or anything that I've already created in the Content Hub, and I can start to use AI within the confines of that. I can do a specific web URL, or I can even do a custom description. Let's stick with this personal loan theme though, and we'll go right into our Content Hub, and we'll select personal loan. And maybe we want to make this, say, 60 words, and we're going to go ahead and generate that. The tone is something that will be done in that implementation phase, but I can, so this has not necessarily been set for KBank, but I think you can understand for anybody that's played around a little bit with ChatGPT, it's going to be very similar to that, except this is going to work within the confines of content that you've already created instead of casting a massive net that goes through the entire universe of web. So maybe I want to make this shorter. Maybe I want to go ahead and make it persuasive. And now I can start to use artificial intelligence to recommend some different ways of getting some content out there. And this is something where you can use all of this ties together in the fact that it's easy to use. You can create your content modeling before even knowing your channels exist. Once those channels are defined, you can start to use the CDP that's already embedded within Xperience by Kentico with the site visitor tracking. You start to segment them out, and then you can tie it all in with some more targeted email marketing with the assistance of AI to really start to improve the overall digital experience that both your existing customers are going to have, as well as anybody new or new prospective clients that you are looking to target. And I think that this all works very well together. As a final point, what I will say is, yes, Xperience by Kentico does fall, under that all-in-one digital experience platform, I guess, umbrella. However, we do understand too that there's going to be several other software solutions that could possibly be something that you absolutely need. And a really good example of that would be, say, like a CRM. If you're using a Salesforce, if you're using a Microsoft Dynamics, whatever that looks like, you can pair that very well with Xperience by Kentico. So yes, we are all in one, but we also are composable by nature. So I don't want that to be, I just want to make sure that that's very clear as it. Another really good one too is, yes, we have analytics. A lot of our clients, the majority of our clients, will use Google Analytics or some other alternative analytics tool to really start to put the some horsepower behind that and really start to understand what your clients are looking at and what is going to be most important to them. So with that, I am more than happy to take any questions at the end of this. I know I didn't have a whole lot of time, but I'm going to kick it over to Rohan.
Thanks, Dean, for that demo. I kind of lost count about the many, features and things and capabilities that you have, but I'm very, very excited in particular for that AI email thing, because I work in marketing, and now I don't think anybody can say anything negative about me, because I, headed and hosted a Kentico webinar for it. So I have the perfect excuse to, use AI a little bit to help me out with Kentico, with Xperience. So thank you for that. Now I'm gonna hand it over to Christian. Christian's gonna walk us through the difference between total cost of ownership and ROI, and how to understand that difference to maximize benefits for your organization. Christian, you can bring us home.
Thank you, Rohan. And yeah, that AI really is amazing. I don't think I've ever seen a technology that's been adopted so quickly, but I think everyone can clearly see why. The ability to just press a button and generate content that you can then either refine with the AI or edit is really amazing, and obviously a game changer for any content development workflow. Sure to generate a significant return on investment. Speaking of which, I think everyone is aware that the first question they are likely to be asked, whether you're beginning the MarTech journey or expanding your capabilities, is how much is this going to cost? Sounds great, but what do I have to write the check for? And the second is likely to be, how much is it going to make the company? What's the return on investment? Unfortunately, these are also a set of questions that are not necessarily easy for most companies to answer. At times, they can seem as complex as the software itself. Intuitively, I think everyone is aware that return on investment is the most important factor. If you can confidently let your boss or your board of directors know that every dollar spent on a solution is going to generate $2 in return, everyone but the most short-sighted executives are going to be happy to invest. Return on investment for any marketing-related function is unfortunately not an easy thing for most companies to measure. The problem is it's very difficult to say what a customer is actually worth over time. And even if you have that figure known as customer lifetime value, how do you know for sure that the company's website, marketing, digital marketing, content personalization, marketing automation, or any of the strategies we've been discussing today are really responsible for converting that customer? Especially if you have a sales team or an account management team, they're not going to give the credit to the website. They're going to try to take all the credit for the new customers coming on board themselves. Therefore, most companies struggling to put a real figure on return on investment tend to focus on what it costs to own something, as if you are an individual comparing prices and maintenance on two different brands of automobile, maybe BMW or Mercedes, or Porsche or Jaguar, depending upon your preference. At least they think to themselves, when it comes to total cost of ownership, I know most of these figures. They're easy for me to calculate. In reality, they simply aren't. Certainly, the check or digital wire transfer your company makes to Kentico or another provider and your implementation partner, hopefully Korcomptenz, are certainly going to be top of mind and figures that your CFO is going to be well aware of. But most companies, in our experience at least, do not adequately capture the internal staff time to support these systems, particularly after launch. When it comes to web technologies and marketing technology in general, I've always found this pretty strange because over time, this is where the majority of your costs are likely to accumulate. And it's also where small differences can end up producing big results. If you have a website with a blog that's updated 3 times per week for a total of 150 times per year, and it takes about a half hour to update that blog post and post it to your social channels or other channels that you market on, you're looking at spending about 75 hours per year on that task alone. But if a new platform that's better integrated with these channels cuts that time in half, you're down to 37.5 hours and you're freeing up almost a week of staff time per year that can be spent on much more valuable initiatives. Email marketing in particular, in our experience, frequently requires users to download lists, manipulate them somehow, maybe in Microsoft Excel, and then upload them into another platform, resolve any errors there. If you can eliminate that process, you can likely send more emails and be more effective, but you can also greatly impact your total cost of ownership. We found reporting to be similar to email marketing in the sense that there's a lot of extraction and manipulation and then distribution, or anything that can be done by a department that is closer to the need, plus any other opportunities for automation. All of these can have a significant effect on your total cost of ownership if you are accurately measuring the time. Regarding your return on investment in particular, it might not be easy, much like content personalization and the customer journeys themselves. That doesn't mean that you can't make significant progress if you choose to start somewhere and commit to tracking key metrics. Even if you cannot get to a true ROI, it is relatively straightforward to pick some key performance indicators that are important for your business, things like brand recognition, overall web traffic, downloads of assets, and so on, that can directly relate to ROI over time. It may be correlation and not causation, but by tracking these metrics and comparing them to your sales, you can begin to measure the changes of both and tease out valuable information that is going to guide your future strategies. Ultimately, every organization is going to have their own unique needs, but I think we can all expect that there will be a few parallels regardless of your particular corporate profile or the industry. As we saw earlier, when companies were scaling back their MarTech investments in regards to underutilization, lower cost of ownership automatically results in higher ROI, unless you're cutting off your nose to spite your face. In other words, those lower costs are a good thing if they come with the same or similar capabilities and allow you to pursue the strategies that you need. Likewise, or conversely, more systems generally cost more money, and not only in the licensing. We tend to use the phrase technical debt to describe the various upkeep that is required to keep disparate systems exchanging data and working smoothly together. This can accrue, especially if you pursue the best of breed strategy, but whatever you do, it's important not to give up. Make sure you're putting a plan in place to better capture both your spend and the return. As we noted on the last slide, the changes over time alone will prove invaluable, helping you understand what works and what doesn't, even if you can't put a figure down to the last penny on it. Thank you again, everyone, for attending. We are winding down the presentation. We're going to discuss a few key takeaways, how Korcomptenz and Kentico can help, and then we are going to jump right into the live question and answer session. I hope everyone has learned a lot today. A few points that we want to highlight. The marketing technology space is constantly evolving, so fast in many cases that it's difficult for companies to keep up. The challenges keeping up with both the technology and implementing successful strategies have decreased utilization of even platforms that are already in place. This decrease can have tremendous costs, including significant loss in revenue and wasted investments, given the benefits of a superior customer experience. Competing strategies have emerged to successfully deploy marketing technology platforms, including all-in-one and best-of-breed, but truly modern platforms do not force you to choose between the two. Xperience by Kentico is a fully modern DXP with a unified code base that combines the best of both worlds, offering a truly compelling and composable solution that is adaptable to your unique needs. As you plan your investments, many companies struggle with calculating the true return on investment and have significant gaps in their total cost of ownership, but you can make progress by taking a strategic, incremental approach. Korcomptenz is a 20-year-old company headquartered in New Jersey, providing total technology transformation. We service close to 300 clients globally, providing solutions that solve business challenges and gain competitive advantage. We are full stack technologists that can help you maximize your return on investment across leading platforms from Kentico, Microsoft, Salesforce, and others, with an overarching mission of driving value and delivering excellence in everything we do. Kentico is a premier provider in the content management system and digital experience platform market, serving the digital marketing needs and website needs of global customers for 20 years as well. They currently operate in 120 countries across 4 continents, supporting 35,000 websites for organizations of all sizes, from Fortune 500 companies to mid-sized businesses. In addition, they have been honored by G2, Gartner, Forrester, and other prestigious organizations. Together, Korcomptenz and Kentico have successfully implemented award-winning customer journeys that have been honored in various forums. We've generated an 866% return on investment and increased conversion rates, capturing 5 times more prospects than traditional methods. These strategies are critical to realizing the promise of your marketing investments, increasing utilization, and generating real return on investment. The combined experience of Korcomptenz and Kentico and our proven track record of solving the toughest technology challenges while driving value and delivering excellence offers you a unique opportunity from conception to execution. We can partner with you across your entire marketing technology stack, delivering successful strategies and technology architectures, award-winning design and user experience, world-class implementations, and white glove support with engagement models including turnkey, per project, staff augmentation, and managed services. Together, we are confident there is nothing we cannot achieve, exceeding your expectations and helping your business thrive. And now I will turn the floor back to Rohan to walk us through the Q&A.
Thank you. We are getting to the end of our time, but I think because we started a little bit 5 minutes late, I think we could do some questions. I'm looking through the chat box here. We might not be able to get to all of them, but we're going to do as many as we can. This first one is to Saurav, and it says, if all the features most companies need are available in an all-in-one solution, then why does anyone ever go best in breed?
Okay, so most of the organizations start with what they think is the best solution for a couple of years down the road. But as they mature, they realize they have to cater to audiences in multiple channels. Or, let's take an example of introducing a best-in-breed software, a new software in your existing system by some other department, which can lead to multiple challenges, and the complexity increases again. In the ever-expanding digital environment in the world, integrations to other softwares can be very complex, as I explained earlier. I mean, going through all the internal teams associated with it, the best in breed has this best solution for a couple of problem statements, but in the overall picture, I think the all-in-one succeeds anytime. And there is a term for it, digital maturity. So I think that should answer it.
Thanks, Saurabh, for that. This next question is to Dean. It says, is Kentico available on a subscription basis, or does it require either cloud infrastructure or dedicated hardware?
Sure. So kind of two questions there, I guess. So yes, it is a subscription license. Xperience by Kentico is offered in two different ways. And to preface that, the solution is identical in both. So it's offered as a license only. So for instance, if you wanted to host your Xperience by Kentico deployment on premise via a partner or a third-party managed services, totally fine. If you'd like to go with our SaaS option, which is hosted in our Azure tenancy, that is also an option. So you can get the license as well as the hosting infrastructure, which we would take on that responsibility. And again, the solution is absolutely identical, whether you go SaaS or you go license only.
Great. This next question is to Christian, and it says, if we already have some of these systems in place and are considering some revisions to our tech stack, where should we start? How do we know what to update first?
I think that's the million-dollar question that everyone's probably asking themselves. And obviously each company is going to have a different approach to this. But the first thing that I would recommend is look at what systems are working for you the way you want them to, which systems are utilized broadly by the various teams on your side, the kind of systems that people are coming, we love this, it's doing what we need, that people are asking to get access to and jumping on, and then compare that to other systems that people are griping about. They're missing features, they're hard to use, they don't have the right capabilities. Once you look at systems that are successful and unsuccessful, zone in on those unsuccessful systems and try to figure out why. Are they unsuccessful just because they're not configured right? Or are they unsuccessful because they're missing features? Are they unsuccessful because they're not supported? If they're unsuccessful because they're missing features, that then opens up the door to consider replacement platforms. Once that door is opened up, however, as we've seen with this MarTech stack, it can be like a ball of yarn. So you may find that this system is missing a feature, but the new system that has the feature also has the same features as the system that's working. And at that point, you start making judgment calls.
Great, thank you. And I think this could be the last question. I don't think we have time for anything else. This is not mentioned to anybody. It's not asked to anybody in particular. So whoever wants to answer this it's free game. You mentioned maximizing customer experience and driving sales. Can you elaborate on how Xperience by Kentico facilitates data-driven decision-making to optimize marketing efforts and improve conversion rates? I think, Dean, actually, you're probably better to answer this question.
Sure, yeah, I can hop in there. It's a good question. So I think that one of the examples that was shown in my brief demonstration was being able to understand and capture site activity, both from known and anonymous site visitors. Once you can take that and start to segment them out through contact groups or personas, you can start to offer up content that's going to be more personalized to them, and that all becomes tied into one solution with some email marketing capabilities. And again, I mentioned this kind of at the end of my presentation, is while it's all in one, it is still composable by nature. So there are going to be other tools and other software solutions, kind of to Christian's point that he was just talking about, that are going to pair quite well with Experience by Kentico. So there will be situations where maybe they're looking to consolidate their tech stack because they think that it's too difficult to manage. But there's also going to be some software solutions that they know and love and is doing exactly what they want to do. And they know that they can kind of take more of a core satellite approach, Experience by Kentico kind of being that core, and satelliting around it via integrations and API hooks to allow all of those to work together. So it's going to be, it's that answer that probably nobody wants to hear. It depends. It really does depend on the situation. But I do believe that it is going to suffice both of those situations. One being that it can start to take over some functionality and start to actually drive conversion rates, expanding current existing customers, but also converting potential site visitors. And then it can also be used in a fashion with, maybe you want to take that CDP data, convert it or integrate it in with the CRM of choice, put in some sort of other analytics tool. Maybe you have already a subscription with an e-commerce solution that you want to use. It can all play well together. So again, it does kind of depend. And again, Experience by Kentico is very flexible and adaptable from that standpoint. And again, just to throw it back over to Korcomptenz, that's where they come in, because they are a great partner of ours that can make all of those integrations. They can make all of those assessments. They can do all of those things for you within the confines of using a solution like an Experience by Kentico and whatever other solutions that you're already using that you know and love and you want to keep.
Dean, if I could just make one more point on that, and I think you answered the question excellently. I think when you talk about marketing automation, a lot of people tend to think it's about the machines doing everything, but you alluded to taking that CDP data and moving it to the CRM. A lot of successful marketing automation workflows are simply notifying a sales representative that one of their customers has come to the website, or what product they viewed, or what emails they opened. So you can use these transactions online to drive offline activity or white glove service. One of the benefits of a system like Experience by Kentico, or any system that consolidates web data and email data, is everything is close together. You can tie a web page activity to an email open to a web page activity. This gives you a sort of single source of truth that you can then use to trigger offline and other processes and be very successful with them.
Just one more quick caveat on that. I know we're running out of time, but as a real world example, naturally we use our own solution here at Kentico. And somebody comes to our website and they fill out a form for a demonstration. We have architected it in a way where we get a message on Microsoft Teams, we get an email with a link directly to our CRM. It is like really 3 or 4 different ways in your face, like somebody wants a demo, here's all the information that we've gathered, please follow up with them immediately. So again, it can be completely customizable, but that's something that we do here.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, I think that's all the time that we have. Thank you for everybody for your very patient listening. There are some more unanswered questions in the chat, but don't worry, we will follow up with you offline and make sure that your question gets answered. Of course, we also encourage you to connect with us to learn more about and also to discuss your strategy. As an attendee of this webinar, we're also going to be sending out a very special offer on no obligation assessment for your marketing technology needs. Or if there's anything else that you may want our help with, please contact us for more information at sales@korcomptenz.com. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to my panelists. Thank you to everybody who was listening, either at home or office. And enjoy the rest of your day, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.